So what is it that you're afraid of? Is it snakes? Is it reptiles? Is it a combination of a few different things? Well, be sure to stick around because the goal of this video actually is to hopefully bring out a more positive perspective on whatever it is that you're afraid of. So stay tuned. My name is Nick Pulaski. Growing up, I have always had a passion for wildlife, and with that passion, along with my passion of filmmaking, I get taken on some amazing adventures creating wildlife content, getting up close with a variety of incredible animals. So come follow along as I pursue my goals of educating, inspiring, exploring, and conserving wildlife, all while having fun, seeing the beauty in our natural world. So, gaining a new perspective on your fears. Not fully getting over your fears, because that's not something normally that can be done overnight. But gaining a new perspective for your fears, that's what the goal of this video is. And then baby steps hopefully to lead you in a more positive direction, just so you're on a better track of getting used to whatever that is you're afraid of. Now, as you can see, my hands are empty right now, so I'm not actually holding a snake if you are afraid of snakes, because what the goal of this video really is just to try getting people slowly used to something that they're actually afraid of. I've been around so many different people, and if I even mention that I have snakes, they say that their skin starts to crawl and all these other different things, and we don't want that in this video. So this video is to hopefully help you guys with those fears. If it is snakes, I mean, it could be about anything. So like if you're afraid of heights, if you're afraid of planes, anything like that. If you have like a fear of elevators, it doesn't matter. It could be just anything. It's just a very broad generalization of what fear is. That's what we're trying to go over today, and the things that you can do to combat that. Because let's face it, no one likes to live in fear. So generally, to kick this off, let's start on the origin of the fear. So let's say there's a couple different ways and outlets that a fear can actually bring up. So it can either be through like the media, so like through the news, it could be through like television and TV series, for example, like Jaws. So Jaws brought out a huge fear back in the 70s where people were afraid of sharks. And it's just one of those things where Jaws brought up that huge trend of people being fearful of going to the beach because of sharks, where the likelihood of a shark coming to attack you is very slim, but it's all about being mindful. So besides the media, for example, it could also be the reason of your upbringing, which could be, for example, maybe a parent or someone that was actually, for example, afraid of snakes. So if they were afraid of snakes and you growing up were like around them and they're like, oh my gosh, snakes, and they're telling you all these bad things that could be even potentially wrong about snakes, and they're like, oh man, snakes are scary, snakes are bad, then you kind of attach to those things too, where you're like, I've kind of heard bad things about these guys, so I want to stay away. Well, you've never actually learned about the animal, but you've been told like all these negative things, but you've never heard the actual positive things as well too, and truly learned about whatever it actually is that you're afraid of. Now I will say too, there's nothing absolutely wrong with having a fear. Fears are common, fears are normal, everyone has one, and they can literally be about a variety of different things. Like I said, it could be about planes, it could be anything, you know, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things that are common amongst everyone that people are afraid of. And it could be an exciting thing too, because the opposite of fear actually is knowledge. So gaining that knowledge, gaining that new perspective will help you get baby steps and everything like that to hopefully potentially overcoming your fear. But bottom line, if you could just gain a new perspective, I mean, that's a huge crucial step that a lot of people haven't taken. Now I will say, while we're in quarantine, hopefully staying safe and staying healthy, that this is a pretty good time to do a lot of different things and catch up on a lot of things and educate ourselves maybe about the things that we're afraid of. So that's why I wanted to bring out this video, so maybe it would help you guys and inspire you guys to maybe do that. Also in the comments too, make sure you leave down below what you are afraid of, and also share this to other people too that are afraid of different things, because hopefully they can get inspired too to also branch out and do different things as well too, that get out of their comfort zone and hopefully help them gain a new perspective on what they're afraid of. Now another reason people could be afraid of something is besides the media and also besides a negative upbringing, could be an event that caused a negative impact on their lives. And using the same example of a snake again, it could be something, for example, maybe someone threw a snake on them, or someone got bit by a snake, you know, it could be something, you know, anything. But those kind of things could be one of the reasons where people could get afraid of something, and that could cause them stress and anxiety and everything like that too. Now something that you can do that could be something to cope with those kind of issues is maybe reflecting on it, if you do so wish, on maybe what went wrong or what happened in the situation that caused this to happen in the way that it did. Another way too with all this could be just reaching out to someone who's an expert on kind of things like that. So like, say if you're afraid of like arachnids or anything like that, or like bugs in general, reaching out to maybe someone in the field that's like an entomologist or something like that, or if you're afraid of reptiles, someone that's like a herpetologist. If you're afraid of planes, it could be like a pilot, you know, I mean, there's anything. Fear can be about anything, guys. So having someone potentially as a professional that could be an outlet for you, kind of giving you more of a background and like experience level that they have, that could be something too that could be really impactful for you. Now in the past, actually, I did actually do a documentary about this topic, and actually the documentary should be premiering hopefully sometime soon. My goal is to be actually having it debut sometime later this year. I'll give you more details on that later on. But we didn't bring aboard any actors. We brought aboard people that were generally afraid of snakes, pit bulls, and spiders. But it was one of those things coming into it that I told them, look, I'm not expecting you to overcome your fear. I'm just trying to get you guys a new perspective on these things. So it's just all about reaching out, learning about things, and seeing what the outcome is. And believe it or not, by the end of each one of those segments, with the professional and with the animal actually in the room, because we were using animals at the time, the person either held or touched an animal, which was amazing. And they also stayed in a close proximity to the animal themselves and just listened and asked questions, and it was very interactive and very cool to see just in person and everything like that. And I mean, it was raw emotion, which was really cool to see, because you see a person get really afraid at first and they're like, I don't know if this is a good idea. But then when they start asking questions and they get more comfortable once they're learning and gaining that confidence and everything like that, that's all it is confidence. So confidence is always key for things. So gaining that confidence, gaining that knowledge is important for anything when you're overcoming your fear. So then they can bring that new perspective and they can enlighten their friends and bring out a more positive vibe to whatever they fear as well too, to other people, which would be great. So that's what I'm always striving to do, is not only educate people myself, but also giving the people the power and tools that they need to also inspire and educate others on whatever it may be. And in the case for me, it's normally 9 times out of 10 reptiles, because obviously that's what I have. So having reptiles and everything like that, and doing like hands-on interactive activities, and I've also done some just as talks and everything like that too. Those are things that are really key points to get people more used to reptiles and get that desensitized feeling where they're not feeling this fear or anything like that when snakes are coming by or like anything's coming by that's scary for them. So that's going to be your 3 components there of reasonings why people are normally afraid. So like I said, leave down in the comments below what you guys are afraid of and how you guys are doing with that, how you guys are coping with that, or like what's something that you were afraid of that you have gotten over. I would love to hear all of those. And even I can admit too, I have fears. I'm not a fan of planes whatsoever. I'm not afraid of heights though, which is weird, but planes I just don't know about. I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, I'll get on a plane, but I'm not one that can nap on a plane or anything like that. I'll be just like looking around the whole time. I won't be able to sleep, anything like that. It's just one of those things. You got to get on the plane if you need to get where you're going, but let's just say it's not my preferred method of travel, but I'm trying to work on that and trying to get better with that. But it's just one of those things you have to work at. But yeah, please leave those down below. I'd love to hear them all. Now kind of bringing it in a bit and kind of going back to reptiles. So let's say snakes, for example, people are afraid of. So snakes, normally people are like, oh my gosh, that thing could eat me, or something like that thing is slimy. It's one of those misnomers and everything like that people like see like all these crazy news articles and stuff like that, and normally 9 times out of 10 it's false, or there's like some key event that got missed in the writing down the line or anything like that, or it's just a whole bunch of he said she said kind of a deal where it kind of gets all jumbled and everything like that and causes these irrational fears. Like take for example the movie Anaconda. They took these beautiful snakes and they painted them in the bad light of they're out for blood, they're out to kill you, and they're man-eating and they're going to kill all of you. Where that is not the case whatsoever. You are more likely to die from your toilet than to die from a snake at the end of the day. That's just kind of how it is. Now, how can you help someone that's afraid of snakes, let's say? Well, the thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to like take a snake that you have and just throw it on someone. I mean, that is totally not what you want to do. That's actually totally the opposite thing of what you want to do, because what that's going to do is that's just going to make them more afraid, because one, you're like surprising them in an aspect where they're going to be like, oh my god, what the heck did you just do? And 2, it's not going to teach them anything. It's just going to be like, hey, I'm throwing this at you and good luck. That's not any way to learn anything. So what you want to do is maybe just holding it yourself. If you're just holding this thing, say for like the example, like if it was a ball python or something that's like more slow moving, if they're seeing you just handle this thing and it's very slow, very curious, just moving around, just kind of moving its head, and it's not obviously trying to go at you or doing anything like that, that's going to be positive signs of saying, hey, I mean, this thing isn't bad, he's not doing anything, he's obviously not going to eat him. I mean, look at the size comparison and everything like that. Things like that are huge, crucial components of getting someone used to an animal, used to snakes, everything like that. All things for the positive. Now, for people that are afraid, the main question that I get asked is, do you get bit? Can you get bit? And what I answer is, yes, anything can. And I mean, I was playing with my cat yesterday, and you're more than likely to get bit and it to hurt from like my cat or like a dog, anything like that, or something with bigger teeth than like, say, for example, a 3-foot python. Now obviously each snake is different and everything like that, and it'll depend on the snake to depend on what kind of bite it will be like and the outcome of that. But regardless, for example, if we're talking about like the ball pythons or anything like that who have very, very tiny teeth, they're not going to have anything where you're going to have to worry about. And that's normally the snake I bring out anyway, is the ball python, just to get someone that's new to snakes acquainted with them, just so they have like a more positive thing where they're like, oh, this thing's really slow moving, this isn't that bad, the snake isn't slimy feeling or anything like that. And if you actually saw my video in the past, I'll leave a link where I actually went over snake myths. That's actually something that we went over, is if snakes were slimy, and the answer is no, they aren't slimy. So like the texture of them, actually people are really surprised on, because people are like, wow, this thing actually really isn't slimy, it actually feels kind of cool, which is something that kind of really relaxes people too. And believe it or not, it's kind of an interesting thing where there's actually places that will do snake massages, because it's actually a relaxing thing to either have a snake moving over you or like handling a snake. It's all different things that are really positive things for people, where they're like, wow, this isn't that bad, and this is actually really cool having this interaction with this beautiful animal. So something to also keep in mind too is like things like that of obviously not throwing an animal on someone, but like listening and having them ask questions and giving them educated answers. That's all positive things, so they can gain more courage and more acquainted to an animal like a snake or anything like that, or whatever they're fearful of, just so they can have that better interaction and positive experience. That's what it's all about. I've actually done videos like that in the past where I've actually brought someone over here and that was completely like nervous around a snake and everything like that, but like we just, like I said, same practice, everything like that. I was just handling the snake, and by the end of it the person was actually excited and eager to hold a snake, and we held a couple different snakes, and it was a positive experience, and they were very excited, and I was very excited because it was something that was bringing joy to them, which brought joy to me. So really cool to have those experiences, and I wanted to do something like that again, but also record it so you guys can also see that as well too. But because of quarantine, can't do that in person, so trying to do that over video call. So if you have any suggestions of apps or anything like that that I can do, and also record the audio with it, I would greatly appreciate that. So leave that down in the comments down below. But let me bring out a snake for you guys so you can see it. And if you're still kind of timid to snakes, I'm going to give you that warning right now. But like, if you are so timid, be sure to also check out other videos on my channel. Maybe that'll also help you too, because it's not in person or anything like that. So you're kind of learning a little bit more about snakes, and you're eager to learn, you're wanting to learn. That's great. That's great first steps there, as well as check out other people's channels too. But like, check out my channel, make sure you subscribe, and if you have any questions, make sure you follow me on social media, and you can ask away as many questions as you'd like, or leave them down below in the comments. I'm happy to help you guys and happy to ask those, so do that. But give me a second, let me bring out a snake. All right, you ready for this? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So here he is. This is my super pastel lesser male right here. He's looking quite sharp, I must say. But obviously, I've been around snakes my whole life, so I've had this experience, and this is nothing to me. But to a lot of people, this would freak them out. I mean, he's not going that fast. He's going quite slow, and he's just curious. And that's what ball pythons normally are like, and a lot of different species of snakes are like this too. Now, people commonly ask too, why does a snake bite? So it's normally out of two different reasons. So it's normally out of defense, or it's normally out of hunger. There's a common sense kind of functionality to it too, where like a lot of snakes go off of rodents to eat as prey. So if you're not smelling like a rabbit, or if you're not smelling like a mouse or a rat, you're going to do totally fine. So like, I wash my hands like after feeding a snake or doing anything like that, or any handling. I'm not holding like a pet rabbit or anything like that, so I'm not smelling like a prey item. But out of defense too, I'm very cautious on those kind of things too, where I'm not overcrowding the animal or stressing the animal out to the point where they're like, you know what, I'm going to snap at you or anything like that. Which I feel is why like a lot of baby snakes people have issues with, where they'll come at me and be like, why is my baby snake or my younger snake always constantly coming at me? So because it's not used to it, it's going to be more on its guard, and it's going to be more timid, and obviously it's going to be in return more reason to strike. So those are going to be reasons too. So it's just kind of one of those things where mellowing out an animal, making sure it's getting fed properly, everything like that, those are great proper ways to make sure that you're not going to get bit. But as you can see, I mean, he's super curious. He's just moving around up and down my arm. So what they actually do is when they flick their tongue like that, it's not necessarily to taste you, it's to scent the air and see what they smell and everything like that. So it's just looking around, just smelling things. So it's something really cool to see, but I absolutely love this guy. He's super stunning in colors, which intrigues people a lot too. It's just seeing the patterning and the color of these guys, really cool. So that's why I normally always bring out like a ball python or something like that, because like you can see, something super chill like this is not going to be something that's going to normally scare away a person. If it was something that's a little bit more moving and everything like that, and I'm moving my arms more, say like my boa or something like that, or something that's like a bigger snake, that's going to be something that's going to cause issues. But something like this guy,
or something that's even a bigger ball python, normally those guys are the ones that I bring out because people think they're cool, they like the size, they like the temperament, they like that curiosity aspect, which all snakes can bring. But yeah, that's basically a general consensus. Like I said, I'm going to hopefully do some more videos of this too. Hopefully do something maybe with that video chat call while we're all still in quarantine. So like I said, make sure you guys leave down in the comments if you have any suggestions for that, or if you guys have any fears or anything like that you want to go over. Like I said earlier, leave those down below. And like I said, also too, check me out on my social media. I'll leave links down below. And also thank you guys so much for liking today's video. If you could like this video and subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. And be sure to click that notification bell too so you can see when I upload. Please stay healthy in this quarantine and have some fun and educate yourself on whatever you fear. Knowledge is power. That's the opposite of fear is knowledge. So be sure to do that. And until next time, I will see you guys soon.